All right, hello everyone, and welcome to my backyard. Today we're going to talk about conducting a stress audit. But before we do, quick story. Years ago, I was doing something stupid and tore my pec muscle, right? Up in right about here. And it was unpleasant. But at the time, I was training an insane amount of hours. And so I had figured out how to modify things and demonstrate exercises without really putting any weight on it. And I kind of figured out a workaround as I was as waiting to, hear from a doctor and figure out the next steps. And so I got an MRI done. And in between sessions, I had a little bit of downtime, and I got this voicemail from the doctor's office. And one of the surgeon's assistants left me this voicemail saying, like, "Hey, John, it's so and so. We give us a call back as soon as you can. We need to get you scheduled for surgery. This is something that the sooner you get it done, the better. And so just give us a call." I hung up the phone. I had to go right back to training, and I was just like, "Wow, that sucks." And instantly all these things that I'd figured out how to modify to like not cause me pain to move in certain directions. All of a sudden these things started hurting. And I'm like, man, like instantly my pec started hurting worse. And next day I go in, I see the surgeon. Long story short, he's like, "Yeah, it'll heal on its own." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You guys just left me a voicemail yesterday saying I needed surgery." And he's like, "No, it'll heal on its own. I'm sorry for the miscommunication. They must have got you mixed up, but no, you're fine. Again, it's going to heal on its own. There's no surgery needed." Instantly it felt better. And so to me, it's just a silly story, a personal story that like talked about how quickly our mindset and things that we hear or think can shift our us physically, mentally, emotionally, and can have such an impact on it. And that's why I think it's so important to identify the sources of our stress, because they can cause us to be in a horrible mood instantly. They could cause us stress instantly. And when we look at our sources of stress, to a degree, it comes down to like people, places, and activities. All right. And so when we think about that, three things to conduct this stress audit that I want you to consider. First, let's start with the people. All right. Now, I understand you can't eliminate certain people from your life to an extent, but are there certain toxic influences in your life? And if so, can you distance yourself from them? I've done that, and some of these people were family members, and it was might have been a little awkward, but I promise you, it was much better for me personally in the long haul to create some distance there. So looking at your sources of stress, are there any people in your life that are causing you a ton of stress? And is there anything that can be done about it? I think the people around you are important. That's why we focus so much on building community. And so start by looking at like who are the toxic influences or the people that really cause you a high level of stress, and is there something you can do to distance yourself from them? The next would be like places, and by places I mean like that could be like places in like scrolling on social media, watching the news. Those are two things that come to mind that I see even a lot of our clients, some of you guys, I see some of your stuff you guys post on social media, and I'm just like, man, there is no way that you're looking at all this stuff and not getting stressed out. And I'm like, is it really helping you out when we think about like, is it really worth it and if it is, cool. But me personally, I don't think so. I'd rather not, absorb all that additional stress. Life's hard enough as is. And then the third thing would be activities. Are there certain activities or places that things that you have to do that cause you sources of stress? And is there any sort of way that you can create some distance there, or are there any changes you can make? A good example that I've personally implemented was I keep my phone in the other room a lot of times at night. So again, to wrap things up, stress it's a killer. We got to pay attention to it. So conduct a stress audit to look at like what are your sources of stress, and can you put some distance in there? Can you maybe not do some of those things? I understand, we're never going to be able to completely eliminate stress, but I do think oftentimes there are little things that we could do, such as just like I said, keeping your phone in the other room at night. I don't sleep with my phone in the bedroom. I don't have my phone with me in the evening when I'm hanging out with my wife. Those little things can really add up and make a difference, make your life a lot better. And that's what I'm here to help. So hopefully that gave you a couple ideas, and have a great day.